My journey is unique, but the shake every tree thing reminded me of when I was in the early days prowling and hunting for talent. So I was bootstrapping a sweaty startup. I didn't want investors. I didn't want to give away equity. So I wasn't necessarily hunting for money, although I did spend a big chunk of my time doing that for real estate, which is the most capital intensive business in the world. But I was looking for talent. And it takes me back to when I hear shake every trees, it takes me back to a Walmart parking lot in 2013. I was sitting there. It was like 8 p.m. in Ithaca, New York. It was wintertime. It was cold. It was snowy. It was nasty in upstate New York in the wintertime. My fiance, or my girlfriend, now wife, was inside of Walmart running a couple errands. I was answering customer service calls, like emails, in the car. And I see this out of the corner of my eye. I just see this person like run across the parking lot. And I'm like, whoa, what's that? And I look up and it's a person in a Walmart vest. And they're running through the Walmart parking lot. And I'm like, wow, I've never seen that. Anybody that I've ever seen at Walmart is kind of walking in slow motion. They're getting paid by the hour. They don't own Walmart. Why would they move quickly? And he's running around picking up carts. He's like putting the carts together, pushing the carts together, like moving very quickly. A couple minutes later, he's like pushing a line of 30 carts. You know how it is, like really leaning back, pushing these carts, rolling through the parking lot, and a bag, like a Walmart sack, is tumbleweeding through. And he like reaches down with his right hand and swipes it and puts it in his back pocket, and he's hustling into Walmart. I'm like, okay, this is unique. I got to talk to this person. I always keep business cards in my back pocket. So I make sure I get out of the car. I make sure our paths cross on the way into Walmart. And I'm like, hey man, like, what are you doing? Why are you going so fast? And he goes, well, my manager is in the back doing something. The cart team called in sick. They're not here. And the basketball game gets out. The high school varsity basketball game will be over in about 20 minutes. And we're going to get a rush. We're going to get like 20, 30 families who come in here to grocery shop. We got no carts. This is a major problem. So I'm doing what I got to do. Like, I'm not even supposed to be here. I'm over in produce, but like, I'm out here getting carts. And like instantly in my head as a business owner, I'm like thinking, okay, this person's a little bit different. And so I pull out my card and I say, well, I own a company in town. It's called Storage Squad. We do moving and storage. It's a fun job. We pay $20 an hour. If you know anybody like you who was looking for a job, if you have any friends, have them send me an email. And obviously I was looking for him, not necessarily who he was, his friends, but he sent me an email later that night. We had a conversation. The next day I hired him about a week later, and he was one of the best employees I ever found. So just kind of,
wow,
that's where it takes me.
That's so good. That's so good. I love that you took this shake every tree to seeking people. When I conceived of this little Shaunism, it's because I spent so many early years trying to raise money to fund my business and keep it going. And I just had to learn to kind of ask everyone for money, like shake every tree. And then, by the way, it reappeared pre-IPO. We had to kind of raise money again to bridge to the IPO. And I had to go out there again and shake every tree and, expand my network, utilize my network. And here you are flipping it on its head, talking about shaking every tree for people, which I've also experienced. I had never thought of it through that lens. So I appreciate you taking it there. And I love this example you give. In fact, we should pick it apart because there's so many great learnings from that one experience, at least as I view it. Mm-hmm. So this person still works with you, you said, or was a great employee?
I think he's an investment banker now. He's went on to do bigger and better things in the city, but he was a college kid, and he worked for me for 3 years, traveled around to different branches of my company, ran crews, and from Boston to DC to Ithaca, New York. So just a phenomenal hire. And I think the lesson for me is just to really kind of be the lion on the rock, hunting at all times. You're not always sprinting after a gazelle, but you're always just aware of somebody who might be special, an opportunity. You're under the tree waiting to see what could come out. And I think it's been some of the most talented people in my career that I've found that were able to add the most value to my company were some of these folks that I spotted in other areas of life. Like, we hired a teacher who's now, one of the leaders at my property management company. Turns out if you can manage 35-year-olds, you can definitely manage 35-year-olds. So it's a lot of skills transfer.
Well, it comes down to first principles, and, great people are great people. And so let's break this down. I love from the point of view of this person. What was his name at Walmart?
Will.
Give me a first name.
Will. Yeah.
Will.
Yeah.
Okay. So I love that this guy, Will, first of all, was just hustling. And sometimes I'll get people through DMs on social media, or I don't know, out in life looking for advice. And I even included this bit in my book, Let Me Save You 25 Years, the book, where I just say, just be awesome. And I know that sounds so dumb. Mm-hmm. It sounds so trite. But here you have Will being awesome at Walmart. Obviously he wasn't doing it so he would somehow be recruited by an entrepreneur looking to up-level him. But that was the outcome. And that's the lesson for life. And it may not have happened that day. It may not have happened that week. Therefore, you have to commit to being awesome for days and weeks and months and years at a time. But if you're willing to do that, the universe has a funny way of up-leveling you. But you have to be willing to be awesome kind of all the time. And yeah.
I think 90%, well, maybe that's a little high. I'll ask you the percent, but I think a very high percent of human beings, unfortunately, go through life in defense mode. They're just waiting to see what comes at them. They're reacting. And when they're at a job, they're doing as little as humanly possible to not get fired and to get paid next Friday. So if you can kind of flip that on its head, and Will did not own Walmart. Will was not going to get a raise if there were carts out front when that basketball game got out. Will was out in 25-degree wet, nasty weather in Ithaca, New York when this happened. But he cared. He was just getting after it. And so few people do that. So I think that's just one massive way to set yourself apart from almost everybody in the world.